what is going on? She's just deleted her Twitter. She's getting called out because it was exposed, because an interview got read.
The Indiana Fever president is completely afraid when Caitlin Clark exposed her to the entire Team USA. Many are shocked by how nasty the criticism is becoming every hour.
I'm not joking when I say this. Something's gone weirdly wrong. Like, we hired a freaking Chronically Online.
But hold on, this is more than a single press conference or a popular film. The narrative is much more intricate. I have all the details as well.
Said before, and I will say it again. Stephanie White, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosscroft, the Indiana Fever president, they were not ready. Now, Christine Brennan in her book confirmed the WNBA and the Indiana Fever did not realize what they were about to get themselves into with drafting Caitlin Clark, because the popularity they weren't prepared for and didn't see.
Supporters of Caitlin Clark are speaking out after the Indiana Fever's front office took a terrible turn. Suddenly, the youngster who has been filling arenas and turning the WNBA into a must-watch TV show is receiving criticism from the president of her own team. Yes, Kelly Crosscroft's tone-deaf comment shocked her fan following. We expect the Fever will resemble Apple. It appears that she is referring to Clark by the iPhone case instead of the iPhone itself, making it a peculiar flex. Don't think twice, because of Caitlin, the Fever is severe. Her presence is what keeps the national cameras rolling and the merchandise flying off the shelves, but senior executives on the team seem more interested in downplaying her importance than in acknowledging it. It didn't sit well with the fans. Social media users reacted to the message with rage, exposing it for what it was. Obvious disdain. After that, Krauskopf staged his disappearance for the entire night. Her old account vanished. No excuse, no regrets, simply vanished. As though realizing she had made a mistake, she logged off in the hopes that the heat would subside. An error, but now it's too late. The internet and fans of Fever never forget.
Stephanie White, every single solitary move that you make is going to be scrutinized. Welcome to it.
You can know someone is under pressure when they remove their social media accounts during a scandal. The Fever's president, Kelly Krauskopf, took that action after her now famous comment about the team went viral. And not as she had planned, the public didn't hesitate. Fans of Caitlin Clark, the real force behind the WNBA. As soon as the video went public, present success descended like exotic bees on a spilled beer, criticizing Krauskopf for trying to treat her like a generic commodity. Using a commercial metaphor, Crew removed his previous account by Friday evening, simply poof, without making an effort to clean up, clarify, or say anything. Additionally, the effect of that quiet was far bigger than any public relations statement. Fans weren't only unhappy, they were enraged. We're talking about season tickets enthusiasts and ardent supporters who feel duped after buying passion apparel during a lackluster seasons. Their squad's front is deliberately mishandling the moment they have all been waiting for. Employees. Worse, this came after weeks of silence regarding Clark's court proceedings. As though they had overlooked their referees have tossed her around game after game when she whistles at home. Additionally, her president can no longer to acknowledge her value without mentioning the brand. Please, the suspicions were only reinforced by Krauskopf's journey to the hills. Of the supporters who were able to see right through it, the match was started by the Fever's front office, and now it's not just bad. It's a serious problem of trust. Sophie Cunningham came next. However, before we begin, if you think Caitlin is being singled out, please leave a remark. If you think the references are just blind, yes, please click the subscribe button. Things will only get more bizarre from here on.
I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing?
Just go tomorrow. You're on the Las Vegas Strip. What can the Las Vegas expect from Sophie?
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
The unofficial vice president of Try That on Our Court, Caitlin Clark, and her self-described bodyguard. Sophie Cunningham is the author of You'll Get Dropped. Her remarks were the only thing that ignited the league. Sophie went insane in the first episode of Show Me Something, her podcast. Her uncut monologue was straight out of a Netflix series. Nor was she merely targeting competitors. Everyone was at fault, especially those who downplayed the league's contribution from Caitlin Clark. "You're literally dumb, not once, twice, but 3 times," she remarked. The video became well known on TikTok, YouTube, and X. Right now, it's the catchphrase, Sophie knew exactly what. What was she doing? But she does more than just talk. This is the same Sophie who, following Clark's facial elbow, a Connecticut Sun player was just body-checked into a different time zone. The fact that she was expelled didn't bother her. "I'll defend my teammates." "Do it," she ordered. However, this is where the complexity increases. Sophie did more than just criticize bad officiating or opponents. She started firing at the Indiana Fever, her own group. She claims that part of the genuine disdain for Caitlin comes from the locker room. Some members of the squad are calling her podcast a declaration of war. Supporters have been tense. It's accurate. Viral hits and seasoned pros compete in other leagues than the WNBA. In Indiana, it's currently smoldering. Sophie isn't here to be kind either. She is here to ruin everything. Up.
It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul, and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle, and I don't think anybody wanted that. But the way that the game went and how egregious the referees were and how they were not protecting players, and they especially weren't protecting the #1 player in this league, the biggest draw in this league, which is Caitlin Clark, and they continue to not do that. To me, this was not a dirty play. This was making a statement because the referees didn't do their damn job. This would not have happened at the end of the game if the referees did their job during the first play. If the referees did their job, not just the first play, every single play leading up to that. If the referees had control of the game, that is their only job. The referees' first job, their #1 job, is to protect their players.
Like, I get it to a certain extent, and like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat them. But
Right.
There's just more.
You will treat every rookie that enters the league that way, and I can understand that to some extent. However, there is simply more for her. Let's be truthful. Caitlin Clark is being beaten on the court, while elbowing, the referee remained silent. There were gouged eyes and body checks, messages, fines, and breaking news notifications would have been sent out in the NBA if someone had made such contact with LeBron or Steph, but the action goes on after Clark is robbed in the W. Think about the May 24th Fever vs. Liberty game. Clark is hammered in the midsection by Natasha Cloud. In a 2-point contest, a shoulder-down collision appears to be occurring. The referees stared intently. "Are you all serious right now?" Clark raised his palms and inquired in silence. Meanwhile, the Liberty cheer as the buzzer goes off. Sophie Cunningham didn't hold back. She mumbled, feeling like burnt mud again. She has more. To put it simply, she's right, the brutal and boisterous pair. The standard is becoming increasingly inevitable. Instead of using violent defense, this is targeted disruption. Some competitors have even quietly acknowledged the existence of an underlying purpose, make her put forth a lot of effort. But that's code for breaking her before she's too obvious, and that's exactly what's taking location. But Clark is not going to give up. She was left out of the league's improved hazing regimen when the officials did not make a sound. The alarm, she assumed control. Sophie is out there hurling shoulders and flames at the microphone as if it were her full-time job. This is more than a few bad choices. It is beginning to gain more recognition. To tell the truth, I'm starting to suspect a conspiracy. If you're still here, you know this isn't just a basketball narrative. Don't just watch. Take part, then. To stay up to date, like, comment, and subscribe. The next development can happen at any time.
To sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean,
Behind the scenes, things are not going well in Indiana, and real fighting is now taking place instead of simply spectacle. On the one hand, the businessmen are trying to turn the Fever into a sophisticated brand like Apple. But athletes, fans, and even opposing coaches are aware of this. For a while, Caitlin Clark is the brand. However, this is when the temperature drops. When President Kelly Cruff made the choice, things went south. To limit Clark's authority, this is Sophie Cunningham, who not only disagreed with her supervisors but also lost it with them. Moreover, this was not an emotional outburst that happened on the spur of the moment during the interview. Insiders claim that the podcast diatribe was a premeditated hit after the president's speech. Sophie did more than just make fun of the WNBA. She called out her own front desk in public and presented receipts. That's not irritation, that is rebellion. In all honesty, it exposed a severe identity crisis inside the franchise. Despite having the center point, the Fever still want to build a dynasty. They act as if she's a danger as opposed to showing appreciation. Now the group is split, while some people cling to power. Some view Caitlyn as the future, while others see her as the past. They are not blind supporters, nor is Sophie. Let's be truthful.
You can take a look here.
What the WNBA is doing with Caitlin Clark is the equivalent of the NBA doing this to Michael Jordan in 1986. It just doesn't make sense to me. You are biting the hand that feeds you. Mind you, without...
If LeBron James got pummeled, SportsCenter would air it non-stop and Twitter would melt. The ground following an eye poke, but the league gives Caitlin Clark crickets, a crunch, and no whistle. Imagine Steph Curry losing game after game with no defense. Would the NBA disregard it? Not at all. But that's exactly what Caitlin Clark is going through. She's not a beginner, she is the cause of women's basketball is really well liked. It's all about Clark, the ratings, and the packed arenas, even if it is the source of income. She receives the same treatment as a benchwarmer. Sophie Cunningham's term, unacceptable, was the finest. At a press conference, the referees were chastised by coach Stephanie White for not seeing it. Fans and the media are aware of it, but the league remained silent. The unsettling truth is that this league would yield to Clark if he were a male. Instead, executives on her own team rarely take action, and she is pushed around. Supporters battle for her. Sophie stands up for her, but those who should support her are distracted by politics. Clark is not only the future, she has already arrived. The problem is that the old guard still acts as if they are about to be run over. This is both a disagreement and a reckoning. Caitlin Clark's notoriety will endure, but the WNBA's management and her own club might be missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Everyone is continually reminded by Sophie Cunningham that they are either in favor of or against her, and trust me, if you thought this was absurd, the internet could explode with the next upgrade. To get your message, click the bell, subscribe, and leave a comment. Heard a voice, the storm has only begun. As this story draws to a close, it is clear that the group there is more than one controversy involving leadership and league-wide responses. It depicts the increasing pains of a sport starting a new phase of scrutiny, pressure, and expectation. Not everyone is prepared for the delay that comes after a league's quick rise in popularity and viewership. There is a league, a fan base,